I'd like to welcome you. Thank you so much for coming. And introduce you from our left, Shelley Allen, Jeff Holzinger. You can applaud, come on. And Randy McMahon on the In tonight's forum, we will be inviting the candidates to give 2-minute opening and closing statements. In between, however, we'll have 9 rounds of questions. And what we hope is a unique feature, we're encouraging some interplay between the candidates here tonight. Each candidate's going to take a question from me. Then the other 2 candidates will have 45 seconds each to respond as well. They could answer the question, or they could use their time for something else, maybe criticizing the other candidates. I don't know, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how things wash out here at the end of the evening. Then the candidate who took the question is going to have a rebuttal time of 30 seconds. So we'll keep it civil, right? Okay, great. So candidates, please keep your eyes on the timer light. The yellow light means 15 seconds to go. The red light means stop. We're going to start with opening statements, once again, 2 minutes each, and I'm going to start to my left with Shelley Allen.
Thank you very much. I'd first like to say thank you to WFMD, to the Frederick News Post, and to FCC for hosting the forum. And I'd like to say thank you for attending this evening. I love the city of Frederick. I was raised here. I attended North Frederick and TJ, graduated from Hood College with a degree in biochemistry and mathematics, and began my working career at Fort Detrick in AIDS and cancer research. It was a great place to grow up, a great place to have my start, and it continues to be a fantastic hometown today. We've been the #1 arts and entertainment district for 3 years running. That's in the state of Maryland. We have the top schools in the nation. We've been in the top 10 great neighborhoods according to the American Planning Association, and that's in the entire United States. And we hit the New York Times just a week ago. Fantastic place to be, but there are some issues that threaten our future. Those issues are based on decisions that happened in prior administrations that cost city taxpayers then, are costing city taxpayers today, and are going to continue to cost city taxpayers well into the future. What are those? Those translate into unfunded liabilities in the amount of $204 million as we speak today. What does that mean? That means we require more city taxpayers to pay that bill, more city tax dollars to pay that bill today. Now, interestingly, Jeff is not a city taxpayer, so he's not a part of that mix. Our opportunity, though, comes in the form of business and jobs. We need to attract businesses, startups, entrepreneurs to the city of Frederick, and we need to be more business friendly. We need to be business friendly to every person who wants to start a job in the city of Frederick. And that's why I'm asking for your vote on September the 10th for the mayor of the city of Frederick.
Thank you very much. Jeff Holzinger, 2 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Holzinger. I'm a Republican candidate for mayor, and I want to thank our host for holding this event. I first want to clear up some misinformation that I understand is going around. I am not supporting Alderman Alvoy for mayor. I'm running to win this election. I believe I'm the most qualified candidate based on my experience as a former mayor, a former city engineer, as a private sector engineer and attorney working with local government, and based on my record of getting capital projects completed and city initiatives completed during my tenure as mayor. I also think this is probably one of the best cities, if not the best city in this country, and I'm running to help keep it that way. I grew up here, like Shelley. I went to elementary school through high school here. I graduated from the University of Maryland with a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering, and I got a law degree from Catholic University. Now you'll hear candidates for office, including me, say all the usual statements like we want to have better public safety, we want to increase economic development, we want to make this city more business friendly. But rarely do you hear the specifics about how a candidate's going to get that done. These fundamentals are not rocket science, but it takes experience with local government to make your campaign pledges a reality. And that's what I bring to the table, local government experience. I have experience with government process, government operations, and local government law. And again, that's what I bring to the table. If I'm elected, To the specifics. I will move the completion of Christopher's Crossing from a Possumtown Pike to the Golden Mile towards a reality. This transportation project has been on the books, been planned for 40 years. It's time to get it done. I would also submit that more than anything else, this is going to improve the vitality of the Golden Mile by drastically improving the access to that corridor. So I will look at taking city employees to defined contribution for pension. I will get the sewer agreement with Frederick County completed. I will get the development of the Hargett Farm moving without breaking the bank by being resourceful and using considerable in-house talent. I ask for your vote on September 5th, or September 10th and November 5th. Thank you.
Let's move on to Mayor Randy McClement. 2 minutes.
Thank you, Cliff. And first, I too, like my fellow candidates up here, want to thank the Frederick News Post and WFMD for allowing us this opportunity. And most of all, I thank all of you for coming out and hearing us. My name is Randy McClement. I am and want to be, continue to be, your mayor. My wife, Mary Jane, and I have been married for 20 years. We have a daughter, Melissa. We have a son-in-law, Captain Dan Campbell, who serves in the U.S. Army, and they're stationed currently at Fort Benning, Georgia. I have 2 wonderful grandkids, Charlotte, who is 2, and Jacob, who is 4 months old. And they like the city so much, when his tour of duty is done, they plan on moving back here to the city of Frederick. I'm a native of the state of Maryland. I grew up in the Aspen Hill area of Montgomery County, and my family moved to Frederick County about 20 years ago. And for the last 12 years, we've lived in the city. Our family moved here for the same reasons most of you probably come here, and that is it's a great place to raise a family, and there's a really lot of great places to eat here. In addition to owning a small business in the city for 12 years, I also served on many commissions, committees, and boards. Some of those boards, for example, are the Tourism Council of Frederick County, Celebrate Frederick, Board of Directors, In the Street, the Frederick Festival of the Arts, served on the city's Ethics Commission. I was appointed by former Mayor Holtzinger to serve on the city's Charter Review Committee as chair, and a number of other great community organizations. As you can see, I'm a part of this community, and the reason is because I love this community, and I love the character and charm that it has to offer. I'm honored to have the opportunity to serve as your mayor, and I wish to continue that for another term. My commitment to the citizens of Frederick is to continue to serve and provide sound judgment, fairness, professionalism, and compassion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I feel like I should move the seats apart already. Okay, so it's time for our 9 rounds of questions. Each candidate will have the opportunity to start off a round, and you'll have 1 minute and 30 seconds to answer, then 45 seconds, then a 30-second rebuttal, okay? Don't worry, I'll be announcing it as we go through. We're going to start here to the left with Shelley Allen. The 148-acre Hargett Farm, which cost the city $18 million, has sat relatively unused since it was bought. What's your vision for the property? 1.5 minutes.
Sure, thank you. This is one of those decisions that was made by the previous administration. As you'll recall, there were supposed to be a number of houses on that property. If that had not been purchased by the city through the process of condemnation, there would now be tax-paying citizens on that property. There's not. Today it's costing us approximately $116,000 per month on average for that farm. That sits empty today. My vision is threefold. One, we carve out a small portion of that, about 35 acres, for a park. That would include soccer fields and some other amenities. A piece on the eastern end is carved for a realignment of Butterfly Lane, and what that would do is help to ease the traffic congestion. And interestingly, this piece of ground could possibly be one of the most valuable in the city of Frederick because of its close proximity to Route 70. We haven't had this discussion. We've talked about a regional park and massive funding for that, but if we were able to turn that into a mixed-use sort of development with housing and business there, we'd accomplish several things. we'd accomplish a live-work space where people are actually able to live and work in the same location. That's in part of the most densely populated area in the city of Frederick, so people in the other part of Route 40 region could walk or bike to their, if it was a business center or a working area. And so that's part of my vision for that Target Farm.
Very good, thank you. And we'll go next door to Mr. Holtzinger for a 45-second response.
I was the person who pushed the purchase of that property, and there's a number of reasons. First of all, the city of Frederick is the largest municipality in the county. We do not have the active recreational facilities that Walkersville, Middletown, or Thurmont do. By a factor of 10, we are larger. The site is ideal for that because of the slopes. It's rolling to very flat. For the same reasons, it had a great deal of issue with development, with flat sewer. The taxes from that would have been a net negative. That type of development, you pay more in services than you do gain taxes out of it. And part of the reason was to realign Butterfly Lane to improve the traffic situation on the Route 180-351 corridor. I would continue to pushing to develop it without breaking the bank.
Thank you very much. Mayor McClellan, 45 seconds.
Thank you. That property was slated, as Mayor Holtzinger said, to be a regional park. The property was bought with tax-exempt bonds, which means there's a number of restrictions on it as to whether we can or can't sell it. When we can't, the investment must come to a full investment. So what do we need to do? We need to move forward with what the plan is. Myself, the Parks Director, Roki Meyer, have been recently running around talking to a bunch of different partners, local swim clubs, Board of Ed, Board of County Commissioners, YMCA, Freddie Memorial Hospital, to see if we can move forward the aquatic center, which was planned for that area. It's a well-needed facility for this community that can bring a lot of economic revenue to our community, just for the fact that a lot of places have a lot of swim meets and we can't participate in them. Our home teams go some other place. So this allows us a great opportunity, and we're trying to move forward with that right now.
Alderman Allen.
There are a lot of nice things that we'd like to have, and the reality is you have to pay for them. So, though we'd love to have a regional park, we paid $18 million, that was then. Over the lifetime of that bond, it's going to be $27 million. Today that property is worth $6.3. So I would submit that it's going to be important to come up with a creative idea that gets some tax-paying dollars coming back in on that property.
Thank you very much. We'll now move to Mr. Holtzinger. How much should city government be involved in subsidizing what is traditionally the domain of private sector business? And I think you know what I'm talking about here with properties involved.
Cliff, I didn't quite understand what you said, the whole question. Can you move closer to the microphone?
Yours or mine? How much should, can everybody hear me? Is everybody going to be? Great, thank you. How much should city government be involved in subsidizing what is traditionally the domain of private sector business? And I think you know what we're talking about here.
Okay, I hear your question. The city should not be involved that much at all. Now, there are certain businesses, I guess, or certain entities that would be normally considered in the private sector, such as the Weinberg, such as the golf course, such as Harry Grove Stadium. With regard to all of those decisions were made a long time ago. I don't think that same decision would be made today to enter into those fields. In the case of the golf course, it is close to or at the point where it's going to break even and it's going to start putting money back in parks and recs. Despite when that golf course was first established, very few golf courses in the county. The competition is great, but it still plays a lot of rounds of golf. It's going to turn money back to parks and rec. The Weinberg is a difficult thing to quantify, but I think it's become a real cultural attraction in the city. So I would not do something different. I look to limit the funds to that. And the airport, I think, again, is an attraction to the city for businesses locating here. As far as the hotel conference center, I would not put public tax dollars into that. I will say that Deck 6 is designed and ready to go. That's one of those projects that you have the permits and the design ready to go for when the funding's available. So if a private sector developer wishes to locate a hotel conference facility in the area downtown, the city's contribution could be to move forward with the deck, provided the revenues from parking in that deck are going to cover the debt service on the deck. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to move down the line first to Mayor McClellan.
Thank you. I agree with a number of things that Jeff has said. One of them is the fact that the golf course is truly about to pay for itself. Well, we also have to look at the economic driver and the reason that some of the things are here. They bring character to our town. Take example, Bechtel. When Bechtel decided to move their corporation from San Francisco to the state of Maryland, and particularly Frederick County, they looked at all the character of life qualities. Airport, Weinberg, baseball stadium. These are things, the workforce, these are things that they looked for to bring a major corporation here to our city. Other than the county, we do a lot here in the city. So we want to make sure we maintain those. Our arts and entertainment district is an economic generator. We want to keep those characteristic type entities here in our town.
Thank you. Alderwoman Allied, 45 seconds.
I want to say that municipal government should not compete with the private sector. That said, the entities that we've been discussing were established a long time ago. I'm going to focus on the airport at this point in time. The airport is an entity that brings business to the city of Frederick, and so therefore it's an attractive item to own. Now let me say this, when the runway is extended, this is going to make Frederick much more attractive to businesses, and especially those that have corporate jets that fly in and out of the area. So in that respect, I would support keeping that entity, not selling it, and not selling some of the others, for example, the Weinberg, that make the city of Frederick unique and contribute to the economy in other ways.
Thank you very much, and we will come back to Mr. Holsinger for your 30-second response.
Again, the Weinberg is a entity now which has attracted a lot more private investment, so the reliance on subsidies from the city have decreased, and it is an attraction. It is one of the things that makes Frederick unique, and it is something that did attract Bechtel. So I would continue to support that. Again, they're difficult to quantify. The keys is another thing. Our Harry Gross Stadium, I don't think that same decision we made today, but it's gotten to the point where it's an attraction. It draws people actually from Washington and Baltimore.
Thank you very much. Our third question goes to Member Clement. With the Monocacy Boulevard US 15 interchange funded by $82 million from the state, removing it from the city's top transportation priority, what's the next part of our transportation network you would like to see addressed?
As mentioned before and in other places, phase one of the Monocacy Boulevard is completed. The second phase is the little part that everybody talks about that has that squiggly little road out by the wastewater treatment plant. We have moved forward with funding land acquisition for that parcel. That is the next key to join what is already built to the new bridge going from Monocacy Boulevard across 15 to Christopher's Crossing. I do see that we're moving forward with Christopher's Crossing portions. We have, as people have talked about, a couple of annexations that have come on board. Those annexations have qualifications with them that the builders build portions of that road as they develop. So this is one way that